Essex developed the HandyWave 10 years ago. And it was actually developed in response to what was happening with the Ebola virus outbreak. Identified the technology for HandyWave, and I wanted to, and again, this is part of my product development background, was drawing input from the market in terms of touchless switches, and but essentially we opted for using a Doppler radar, which is utilized in HandyWave. And the reason that we selected that is because Doppler radar accurately detects motion. And, when we initially designed this, our focus was, as you mentioned, pre-COVID, was for healthcare facilities. It was to protect staff from spreading germs, particularly healthcare-associated infections within the facility. So that was the initial focus. But when we first developed it, we also found applications for HandyWave in food processing plants, as well as clean rooms. So, COVID was obviously challenging for everybody, and I would like to mention a couple things about how Essex dealt with COVID, particularly with this HandyWave product. And as you mentioned, we've been building it prior to COVID, but when COVID hit, we were producing quite a fair number of them. But once everybody became very concerned about touching surfaces, our demand for touchless absolutely skyrocketed. And in fact, during COVID, we never shut down. Essex continued to manufacture during that time. In fact, when, as I mentioned, our plant is out in California, even though the state shut down, we were supporting critical infrastructure. And so, but in the interest and safety of our employees, we sent them home, particularly production employees, but we sent them home not just so that they could sit around and not do anything. We sent them home with kits as well as soldering irons so that they could continue to build product at home. Paid them, piece price in terms of each assembly that they completed, and then cycled those back through production at the facility. But we got to the point, James, during COVID where we were building over 1,000 HandyWaves a week, and we couldn't keep up with the demand. And then, of course, maybe you've had some discussions with other suppliers in regards to COVID. Of course, we got hit with supply chain issues. Everything sort of shut down. Yeah, we have this demand for touchless product, and our response, prior to experiencing the supply chain issues, bring in the supply. So, we brought in plenty of components, and then it was a matter of continuing to build touchless even beyond COVID. The Doppler radar, and again, we select that primarily because it is more reliable. It's consistent. It works. So I don't know if I mentioned this in the last session, but the traditional touchless switches that are on the market are infrared. The problem with infrared is that it is susceptible to interference. We've all gone into a public restroom before. You've got the sink or the paper towel dispenser that doesn't always work. And it's typically because the lens gets dirty and doesn't sense your hand being there. One nice thing about the Doppler radar that we use is that it actually reads right through material. In fact, at trade shows, we like to do a demo where we actually take, whether it's a piece of literature or a sheet of plywood, put it in front of the HandyWave, and it'll read right through that material to read your hand. So we've come across some applications where maybe somebody doesn't want to stick it, facing the customer. Maybe they want to bury it behind a wall or something like that. But just point being is that it is reliable in terms of its operation. So part of the reason that we selected that Doppler radar to use in it. One enhancement that we added in the new next generation HandyWave, which is available through Grainger, is the double pole, double throw output. The initial product was single pole. We came across some applications where maybe they want to control multiple devices from HandyWave. And so, that was one of the enhancements that we added to the product. The other ones listed here, the detection zone being adjustable. That's not typical in a lot of the other products on the market. They're typically fixed, but it makes HandyWave more versatile. Even in a healthcare application, you might have a common hallway. You might set it for a couple of feet. You've got a wheelchair or gurney or something going by that could trigger it. Just the movement of that cart or whatever it is, wheelchair past that will trigger the switch. But you might also have an instance for a surgical suite. You want to dial it down. You only want it set for an inch or two so that you don't have unwanted triggering. So that's really another nice feature that we have available in HandyWave. And then talking about the options, which you've got on the next slide, we did add some more faceplate. Well, first off, the optional manual override for emergency egress. You can see that one that's on the bottom there, the double gang version. You've got that in emergency push to exit. That's a manual override switch that we added to the product. So that option's available. We've got various sizes, and I know we talked about mullion last time, and what is it, that narrow version that's on the top left, as well as single or double gang, different faceplate finishes, whether it's powder-coated black or white, stainless steel. And this really, part of the reason we offer so many, these various finishes on it are to help support that architectural continuity that's in a facility. I've been in a number of hospitals where you've got a mishmash of different products. You've got, different manufacturers. It just doesn't look like a family of products. So we wanted to have that option available. One other thing, James, that we did add most recently in the last few months is the option for a 316L stainless steel faceplate. You might say, well, why? What's the need for that? And this kind of goes back to the clean room application that I mentioned before. You've got certain environments where they want to hose it down. They basically have to use certain chemicals basically to clean the entire space. So 304 is a ruggedized stainless, but 316L is even better. So we do offer that 316L as an option on the HandyWave.
If you want to learn more about Essex Electronics, scan the QR code down below. We have multiple web links loaded in there. Essex products on Grainger.com, their website, social media accounts, and whatnot. So it's a great way for you to be able to learn more about Essex. And also, while you're at it, subscribe to the Rowe-Thrush YouTube channel as well as the Essex Electronics YouTube channel. We would love to get your subscriptions to those channels.